have started a discussion on chapter number 9, strategies for enhancement in food production. In the previous session, we have discussed regarding a plant breeding. It is a purposeful manipulation to generate a new species for better cultivation, higher yielding and disease resistance. There are number of steps. There are main 5 important steps in a plant breeding, what we have discussed in the previous session. Okay. Now what we have to discuss? Now why we are doing this plant breeding? What are the purposes? What is the need that leads to a development of a plant breeding? And are they by the plant breeding sufficient to fulfill the requirements or the need of the people and the population? That we will discuss today. Okay. So student, concentrate that what happens that after independence there is a main problem or the main challenge for India is to provide a food to all people. On one side, the population is increasing. On the another side, we have a limited quantity of a land that is going to be available. That means we cannot increase the land because now the map of India has been decided. Okay, after the independence. So what happens? In that limited number of a land, we have to grow or more and more crops. Okay, we have to grow more and more food so we can fulfill the requirement of the population and the people of India. Okay, so that was the main problem, and at that time we have developed a technique called as a plant breeding, and due to this plant breeding it is possible that we are become the exporter of food grains. Okay, initially we were importing the food from the different other countries, but now we have grown the crops with the use of plant breeding or with the use of biological principles into an agriculture. We are able to grow the crop and we are able to increase the production. So that's why now we become the exporter of that food grains and the food products, and that is called as a green revolution. This green revolution is possible due to a food products. Okay, or it is possible due to a plant breeding. Okay, so now the main, you know that what is India? India, the main business of India, you know that India is an agrarian country. All of you know that. You might have learned in the social science when you are in the 8th, 9th standard, you have learned that India is an agrarian country. Most of our people and the population, they are directly or indirectly dependent on the agricultural products. Their income generates from this agriculture. Okay, so it's an agrarian country. The 33% of the GDP means gross domestic product. What the India have the money, from the 33% of the money that comes only from agriculture. And this agriculture, it gives employment to a 62% of people. It gives employment to a 62% of the people. So you know that in India, the income of 62% of the population that depends on the agriculture. So anyhow, we have to improve the agrarian practices in India, and then we have introduced the plant breeding, and it has revolutionized the strategy within India. So that is possible due to a plant breeding, and there are more main 4 important purposes of a plant breeding what we have discussed in the previous session. I again repeat that what are the purposes of this? The first purpose is to improve yield, means we want to improve the quantity or acre production should be increased. The second purpose, to generate the disease resistant variety. So the plant is not going to be affected by the disease, and hence their crop production or the yield gets higher. This is the second purpose. The third purpose is to produce the insect and pest resistant crop. Okay, this is the third purpose. And the fourth purpose is to improve the quality of food. Quality of food. These are the main four purposes what we can see in the plant breeding. We want to do this, we want to improve the yield, we want to generate a disease resistant variety of a plant, we want to generate the insect and pest resistant variety of a plant, and we also want to improve the quality of a crop or the food products that is generated by the crop. So that was possible due to a plant breeding. But મેં કીધું ને તમે માની લીધું એવું તો નથી ને. So here we have to discuss the examples. Are we able to do this? So we discussed the each parameter. We will discuss the examples of in each parameter, how we are able to increase the yield, or how we have generated the disease resistant variety, and what are the disease resistance variety we have generated. Similarly, in the case of insect and pest resistant variety which are, and how we have generated and how we have improved the quality of a food. Okay, so we will discuss it with examples. Remember students, these examples are very much important. They are mostly going to be asked in either short note, or they are going to be asked in a MCQ type of 1 mark type of questions. So students, prepare well. Here we are first going to start with examples. They are responsible or in which we have improved the yield of a crop. So here we discuss the examples in which we have improved the yield or quantity of a food. Okay, so let's discuss in which cases we have improved the yield. Okay, and then one by one we will discuss the individual one. What are the examples in each one? So the first purpose is to plant breeding to improve yield. Okay, so let's discuss one by one example. The first example is wheat and rice. Okay, see your household food in any state of India, either they are mostly going to use the wheat or they are mostly going to use the rice. Okay, so these are the main two important food products of India. Okay, now in this we will see that how we are able to increase the yield of that wheat and the rice. Okay, so let's see. Sorry, in the wheat, if you compare the production of wheat in 1960 and if you see compare the production of a wheat in 2000, in 1960 we are only able to generate the wheat. How much wheat we are able to generate in 1960s? 11 million tons. This is the quantity of wheat we generate in 1960. But now in 2000 we are able to generate the 75 million tons. Okay, similarly in the case of rice, okay, in the 1960 we are only able to generate the 35 million tons of rice, but in 2000 we were capable of generating 89.5 million tons of rice. This was possible. So see how much increase from 11 million to 75 million in from between 1960 to 2000. How much production have been increased? Okay, I think you can say approximately 7 times production has been increased of a wheat. And in case of a rice, from 35 million to 89.5 million, means approximately 2.5 times increase in the rice production occurs in the India. Okay, we are able to improve the quantity, though the land that is available with us is the same. We have not expanded our boundary. The India has not been expanded. Still, we are able to increase the production of a product from the crop. How it is possible? That is possible due to a plant breeding. Okay, so how it is possible? How we have done? So what we have done, we have developed a semi-dwarf variety of the wheat and the rice. Okay, semi-dwarf variety of wheat and rice has been produced. Initially, the wheat and the rice, they are taking the 6 months to grow up. But now we have developed the semi-dwarf variety. When even the plant is small enough, they are able to generate its seed and the fruits. Okay, so we are able to generate this with the help of a semi-dwarf variety, and due to that we are able to grow this crop within 4 months and the 3 months. So the 6 month duration of a crop has been decreased to a 3 and the 4 month. Okay, and thus it is possible to develop it. So how we have done? We have developed a semi-dwarf variety of a wheat and the rice, and due to that the higher yielding of a wheat and rice is going to be possible. Okay, so who has initially developed the semi-dwarf variety? It was not basically developed into India, but it was developed by the Nobel laureate or Nobel scientist. The name is Norman Borlaug. This is the name of a scientist who has developed a semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Okay, he has developed the semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Where he has developed, remember each and everything is important. So that can be asked in a short questions or that can be asked in a MCQ. Norman E. Borlaug has developed a semi-dwarf variety of a wheat. Okay, and that was developed at International Center of Wheat and Maize Improvement. This is a center where they have developed, and this center is present in Mexico. Okay, this center is present in Mexico, where the Norman Borlaug has developed the semi-dwarf variety of a wheat, and due to that it is possible from generate the 11 million to 75 million tons of a wheat production. Okay, but later on the India has also tried, and the India has developed also a semi-dwarf variety. So what is the Indian semi-dwarf variety of wheat? This is the Indian semi-dwarf variety. Okay, that have been introduced in the most of the parts of India. Okay, and they are Kalyan Sona, and the second one is Sonalika. You have to remember the name. I have already told you we are discussing this topic with the examples. So which are the semi-dwarf variety of a wheat that have been introduced into India? That is Kalyan Sona and the Sonalika. These two varieties of wheat have been introduced. They are semi-dwarf varieties. Okay, they are introduced into India. Okay, and the first semi-dwarf variety of India was developed by Norman Borlaug. He is a Nobel scientist, Nobel laureate. He has developed the first semi-dwarf variety of a wheat at International Center of Wheat and Maize Improvement present in Mexico. Okay, the similar thing has been also be done into a rice. We have also developed the semi-dwarf variety of a rice. Okay, and where it is going to be developed? It was developed at, so here I am discussing where it has been developed. So now the semi-dwarf variety of rice. This semi-dwarf variety of a rice that was developed at International Rice Research Institute, shortly called as IRRI, International Rice Research Institute, where we are able to develop the semi-dwarf variety of a rice. Similarly, like wheat, it was developed. This IRRI, International Rice Research Institute, that is present into a Philippines. Okay, it's present into a Philippines. Whereas the International Center for Wheat and Maize Improvement, that is present into a Mexico. Here we have developed a semi-dwarf variety of a rice that is from two main species, or it is derived from these two variety of a rice. One is IR8 and the second one is Taichung Native 1. Taichung Native 1. This is Taichung Native 1. It is from Taiwan. And this is IR8 that was originally, it was developed by the IRRI in the Philippines. Okay. So these are the international semi-dwarf variety of the rice which have been developed at the IRRI, or it is derived from it. Okay. Now later on, the India has also developed its own semi-dwarf variety of a rice. So the semi-dwarf variety of rice in India, that is introduced in India, there are two. Which are two? Two has been introduced. First one is called as Jaya and the second one is Ratna. These two variety of a semi-dwarf variety have been introduced into India of a rice, Jaya and the Ratna. And due to this semi-dwarf variety of a wheat and rice, we are able to improve its yield though the land remains the same. Okay, so I again repeat the examples. The examples are very much important. Norman Borlaug has developed the semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Dwarf means short. Okay, he has developed at International Center of Wheat and Maize Improvement at Mexico. Later on, the India has also introduced its semi-dwarf variety individual, and that is Kalyan Sona and Sonalika. These are the two semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Same thing has also happened with rice. The internationally semi-dwarf variety of rice also have been developed by IRRI, means International Rice Research Institute, present at Philippines. The semi-dwarf variety of rice have been derived from these two. One is IR8 at Philippines and the second is Taichung Native 1 in the Taiwan. India has also developed its own native semi-dwarf variety of rice, and there are two semi-dwarf variety of rice that is introduced in India, which are named as Jaya and the Ratna. Okay, so Sonalika and Kalyan Sona, they are the semi-dwarf variety of wheat. Jaya and the Ratna, they are the semi-dwarf variety of rice. Okay, so this is one example, wheat and the rice, in which we have improved the yield. Okay. Remember, here we are discussing the plant breeding for improving the yield, and we have seen the first example of a wheat and the rice. Now we are moving ahead. We have not only just done in a wheat and the rice, we have also done in the case of sugar cane. So I also explain you with the example of a sugar cane, what is possible with a sugar cane and how we have done it. So now here the plant breeding here we are discussing the plant breeding to improve yield. Now we are discussing the second example. Second example is sugar cane. Sugar cane normally grow into two major parts of India. One is North India and second one is South India. The North Indian people that usually grow the sugar cane, which is called as Saccharum barberi. This is a sugar cane which is grown into North India. In South India, the sugar cane usually they grow is Saccharum officinario. This is the sugar cane which is growing into South India. But now what is the characteristic of a sugar cane that is growing into North India? In the North India, the sugar cane which have been grown, that is a Saccharum barberi. Okay, barberi. In that it has poor sugar content means a less sugar content, and they have a less yield means the production is less. This is what happens with the North India, that is a Saccharum barbaria. In the South India, the sugarcane what we are growing, that is Saccharum officinarium. This Saccharum officinarium has a good sugar content with higher yield and the thicker stem. Okay, this is the characteristic of a sugarcane that is growing into a South India. So the initial concept was we try to grow this South Indian sugar into a North India, but we were unsuccessful. We are not able to grow the South Indian sugarcane into a North India. So what we want? We want the characteristic of both together. The sugarcane what we have developed to improve the quality improve the quantity or the yield, that should also grow in North India, and that also should have a higher sugar content and the higher yield. So we have crossed it. We have crossed a Saccharum barbarian, Saccharum officinarium. A breeding occurs between these two. Okay, and this is called as a plant breeding, and we developed a hybrid. That hybrid sugarcane can grow in, that the hybrid sugarcane that is developed by breeding of these two, Saccharum barbarian, Saccharum officinarium, that has higher sugar content, okay, that have you can say that the higher yield, and now it can grow in North India. So here we have combined the characteristic of two, North Indian sugar and the South Indian sugar, okay, and thus we are able to generate the hybrid that have a characteristic of both, and now we are also able to increases the production of sugarcane in all over the parts of India, that mostly in South India and the North India. This is another example which is generated by the plant breeding. Okay. The third example. Now I am discussing the third example. So let's see the third example. Third example is millet. There are different varieties of the millets are present, like jowar, bajra, ragi, etc. There are different forms of millets they are present, jowar, bajra, ragi. In our cases, the bajri and the jowar, they are very famous. Many of us are eating this. Variety of the food products we are preparing from the jowar and the bajra, and that what we are eating. You know that this jowar and bajra, they need a good quantity of water. Without water, they cannot grow up. Okay? But you know that we have a limited access of water. Even there are certain places where there is a scarcity of water, or they do not get the sufficient quantity of water they require. Sometimes what happens? The rain, okay, bajri, what we are growing into a monsoon season, chomasu bajri jane આપણે કહીએ છીએ, that needs a very good quantity of water. પણ કદાચ એવું થાય કે વરસાદ ના પડે તો, if there is a problem of a rain or a scarcity of a rain or the sufficient quantity of water is not available, obviously the crop production and the yield of a crop gets decreased, and this is a major problem. So what we have developed, we have developed a water resistant variety, okay, which can withstand the less quantity of water. Even if that jowar bajra is not getting the sufficient quantity of water, it doesn't affect the yield of that jowar and bajra, and that is possible due to a plant breeding. We have combined the two characteristics. We have combined one characteristic of jowar and bajra and another characteristic of from another plant which require a less quantity of water, and we have combined. So here the jowar and bajra, they can also withstand in a water stress condition. If they don't get even water in a sufficient quantity, the yield doesn't get much affected. Okay, so thus we have developed. So here we have improved the yield with examples. We have seen it with 3 examples. First example is with wheat and rice. The second example is with sugar cane, the North Indian sugar and the South Indian sugar. And the third example is with the millets. Okay, so listen students, you have to prepare a short note as well as you also have to prepare the examples. Okay, there are only few examples have been discussed. But in the next session we will try to cover the second purpose of a plant breeding, that is to generate a plant or to produce a plant which have a disease resistance capability or characteristic, and for that we are doing a plant breeding. The example of that we will discuss in the next session. Students, till then keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.